Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Writer here. Welcome to a video discussing Once and Always Even More. Shocker. So there is a topic I wanted to discuss, as it is something I've seen people discussing in my comments and elsewhere in the fandom, of what should we do with Tommy as a character after the unfortunate passing of JDF, earlier in this last year. But point is since, JDF has unfortunately passed away, people are questioning, what do we do with the character in the main universe? Primarily that question coming up now because of the special dealing with the death of Trini's actress, which obviously happened even longer ago, a long time ago, compared to how, long ago JDF's death was. And they're dealing with it by including her character seemingly at the beginning of the special, sacrificing herself for Billy, seemingly. At the very least, she dies in the special. Her character appears as a suit and dies like in real time, and they're killing her off in this rather than having it said that she died a long time ago or something like that, or killing her off screen. And it left people to question, like, should we do something similar with Tommy? What should we do with Tommy? Also, something I want to address at the very beginning is I still get people asking, who's the Green Ranger in this from the footage we see? Now, I do not have the exact accurate answer because the special has not aired yet. I did a whole video speculating on all the possibilities of the Green Ranger, which you can check out for fun. But I just want to say here, from what we've seen so far, we've only really seen the Green Ranger in this one type of scene, which seems to be the early scene where they're all fighting against Rita. Based on the context of the trailer, I'm going to assume that this Green Ranger here is meant to be Tommy. Obviously, JDF, not JDF, but just Tommy the character in suit, and it seems like it's implying that it's the original six fighting at the beginning, and then Tommy, Jason, and Kim get shrunk, which is why they call in from backup from mmpr Team 2.0 as the reasoning why Tommy is not in here. Now, we don't know, is it going to be kind of a sound-alike footage, or a voice? Is it going to be no voice? Are they using archive voice? Did they maybe somehow convince JDF to record some voiceover before, his unfortunate passing? I don't know. I mean, I kind of hope it's Jeffrey Prauso a little bit, just because I think that would be kind of a funny nod to that. But I don't know. People probably count that as disrespectful, but it just, because he voiced him in the team-up. Regardless. Point is, that's supposed to be Tommy, I'm pretty sure. There's also the mention of time travel in the special. There's a possibility we could get a scene where we're observing the Rangers fighting in the past. But the point is I'm 99% sure most of the footage we've seen is supposed to be Tommy, just in suit. No different than appearances like Legendary Battle, where there's dozens of Rangers where their characters are technically there, but the actor isn't there. That doesn't mean there's not a possibility something crazy could happen, like Adam morphing into the Green Ranger or something, like was one of the theories, but I'm pretty sure all we've seen so far from these scenes, it's supposed to be Tommy. Now, trailers often play with time and narrative, and, there could be footage we haven't seen yet of other appearances, but I'm just saying, if you're wondering who this Green Ranger is in this scenes, I'm 99% sure it's the character of Tommy, just probably not the actor. But now let's get on to what this video is supposed to be about, is what should we do with Tommy? I personally don't think we should kill him off, and this doesn't tie in just because I don't think we necessarily need to kill off every character where the actor dies in real life. I'm honestly fine what they're doing with Trini. Some people are saying it's disrespectful. I feel like no matter what they did, some people would act all offended. I'm going to be honest, I never get offended by stuff like this. I don't really care about how they handle it so much, as long as they handle it in a decent way, because it's always a tough situation when there's a real life death. It's hard, no matter what, you're going to piss people off. They very easily could have just been like, hey, let's bring in Aisha or Tanya or whatever, and just almost completely ignored Trini. But I like that for this, they're actually kind of crafting a story that gives her a heroic death and a daughter and this kind of tribute. So I think they handled it well with this. I don't think that means that they have to do the same exact thing with Tommy. Various franchises will handle this in different ways. The way they are handling it with Trini is obviously pseudo-similar to stuff like Ghostbusters, or obviously Leia in Star Wars, which was a tricky situation. I like what they did with that. It wasn't perfect, but they had some extra footage. They obviously, I think it was better to give that character a cool role or at least a decent role in the narrative of the last movie rather than killing her off screen. I'm sure they could have done some sort of loving tribute, funeral scene, and just killed her off between movies, but I think that was the right call, personally. And with this too, I think actually having her character there doing what presumes to be a heroic sacrifice for Billy is a cool way rather than just saying, oh, she died off screen. She's been dead a while. So I don't know. But that doesn't mean you have to do the same approach with everything. In Tommy's case, it's a bit different because, Trini's actress had died a very long time ago. The character outside of the comic, different version, really had never appeared again. But Tommy's appeared a ton, and he's arguably gotten some more significant points of closure in a way. His last appearance in live action main universe was Dimensions in Danger, which inadvertently kind of wound up becoming a decent last Tommy tribute. A lot of people at the time complained about it being too much Tommy focus, but that really did highlight Tommy's character so much and the unique history he has, taking up all these different Ranger mantles. And so, it wasn't obviously made to be his last live action appearance at the time, but I think in retrospect now, it works well as a final live action appearance. Not the perfect, most well written special, obviously. I personally really like it. I think it's underrated. That's neither here nor there. But I think that is a good last live action appearance. And then also there is Soul of the Dragon, which was the solo Atomic Kami. What? Strike that. Reverse it. Solo Comic Tommy. Solo Tommy Comic. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. That was written. Now, there is some confusion about that in regards to its canon. I'm not trying to open up that BS debate, but I'll just say that it's my understanding that that is supposed to take place in the main universe, or at least a version of it, not the Boom universe. I mean, even if you don't consider that to be part of the main universe, it's meant to be at least an alternate version of the main universe and not the Boom universe. It's meant to be based off of the main version of Tommy. I think JDF even collaborated with it. I personally consider that to be main timeline Tommy, based off of numerous things. And especially since JDF collaborated on it. And that story is very much meant to be his kind of old man Logan last type of story. And it ends off on a very nice last beat for the character, where he runs out of charges of the Master Morpher and kind of has to look forward to a new future and figure out what's next afterwards. And so between Soul of the Dragon and Dimensions in Danger, I think those are good last two appearances for main canon Tommy, in my opinion. And let's factor this in as well, and I'm not trying to open up the debate about the reboot and all that stuff, but as of right now, after this special in Cosmic Fury, the only thing planned is the reboot. And, I don't know whether we're going to continue the main universe or not. It seems like at the very least we'll be taking a break from it, but so that means that it could be a long time if ever we address the main universe again in this context, in regards to the original team. So I don't think we need to bring it, if we come back to the main universe, I don't think we need to come back just to kill off Tommy. I think that Dimensions in Danger and Soul of the Dragon were as two good last stories for Prime Tommy. Obviously, we will still see versions and variants such as Boom Tommy and Draken, probably for a long time, as well as maybe other variants they come up with. But I think those are two good last stories to leave off on. And then you don't need to kill him off. Do it kind of like they did with Paul Walker in Fast and Furious. I like the way they handled that. I really hope they don't try to kill his character off screen in the last two Fast and Furious movies. But they left it off where they also, kind of like Carrie Fisher, had footage to use to give him a send-off in Furious 7. And it does, in-universe, seem weird he's not involved in some of the events, but because you obviously know about the unfortunate death of Paul Walker, you can kind of accept it. But they gave him a nice send-off where they let his character leave, and you just kind of know that Brian is still out there in the universe. And I kind of like that for Prime PR Tommy because, in my opinion, he had these last two, in retrospect, what wound up being two good last stories for Tommy. And I like the idea of just leaving Tommy be. Obviously everyone's going to die one day, but just leaving Tommy be in the sense that for Tommy's character, I like the idea of it kind of being unfortunately, even though we lost JDF, Tommy lives on somewhere out there in the main PRU. That's just my thoughts. And I guess to just sum it up overall, I don't think just because an actor dies in real life, you always have to kill them off in the story. I think it can be a case-by-case basis. I'm, again, so long as they handle it in a neat way, I'm never someone that's going to act offended about it. I think what they did with Paul Walker is just as valid as what they did with Carrie Fisher. Same thing with if they just leave Tommy alive and leave those as the last tribute, I think that's just as valid as bringing characters like Trini in to do, a final sacrifice and a legacy thing. I don't know whether they contacted any member of the actress's family for approval, because I know that for Star Wars, her daughter, Carrie Fisher's daughter, was there and very much approved of it, and she even played stunt double Leia in the flashbacks. So I don't know, but that's my take and my thoughts. In regards to Tommy, what would you like to see done with his character? Do you think it's good to leave his character off with Soul of the Dragon and Dimensions in Danger, or would you like to see them bring him back? I think at the very least there probably will be a, in honor of JDF type of memorial card, either at the beginning or end of this special or Cosmic Fury. But what do you guys want to see done? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.